VigilanteWilliamson here with a very simple question. What's going on with Teofimo Lopez? I think I asked this question a few weeks ago, a month ago, whatever it was, when he first made the comments about Top Rank is favoring black fighters, which is kind of a ridiculous statement. When you think about the history of Top Rank, they pissed off Manny Pacquiao, they pissed off Oscar De La Hoya, they've pissed off Floyd. So they seem to be pissing off people of all nationalities as a promotional company, but I guess they got young fighters and they're black and apparently they're promoting black fighters over him. Has nothing to do with him losing to George Kambosos though. Has nothing to do with that. No, it's just race. That's why they're promoting these fighters. Honestly, this is sad, man. I'm not like offended, like, oh, rage. It's like, your life is already giving you the karma, right, man? I mean, your wife has left you. I'm not trying to be a troll. That's just what has happened. You were a guy that was on the top of the world a few years ago. You beat Lomachenko. You had called him out, a few fights before and called your shot. You were able to beat him. And then you lost to George Kambosos and nothing was the same. Shout out to Drake, even though he's evil. And so now, honestly, just saying shit for shot value. He said he didn't apologize. He wouldn't be who he was if he apologized, whatever with that. He's also made this statement that he wants to kill Josh Taylor. And to be honest, even though it's, again, more shock value, more shock jock stuff, there is something to be said about the mentality of a combat sport athlete, boxer, MMA fighter, whoever. A fighter in general. Got to also remember that he had some sort of lung issue in his loss to George Kambosos. And a lot of people on the internet thought that was a fake thing. And you can imagine going through something that could very well have cost you your life in a combat situation where people on the internet are downplaying it or saying you're faking it. That might affect somebody's mentality, again, especially in such a dangerous sport. He's not the first guy to say something like that. Wilder said something like this a few years ago. And then, just last year, I think it was crying over one of his friends who had received permanent damage in the ring. It's a dangerous sport and it takes a dangerous mentality to do it. I get that. But to me, this seems like a guy, again, was on the top of the world, almost like that one scene in the recent Creed movie where you have all these friends that came out of nowhere. You got all these fake friends around you. And now, he doesn't have that. He was this big millionaire superstar fighter a few years ago. Then he took a loss to George Kambosos, lost all the belts at 135, eventually went to 140. In his last fight toward the end of last year, he fought Sandor Martin. And he was questioning himself, do I still got it at the end of that fight? And a lot of people think he lost to Sandor Martin. I'm not one of them. I actually said, even though he got knocked down by Sandor Martin, thought it was pretty close. But I felt that, a lot of that was Sandor was the underdog. A lot of times the underdog gets almost like, oh, man, you know what I mean? Because you're just competing with the more known fighter, and that'll get you points where you really didn't get them. That's what my interpretation of that Sandor Martin fight was. That's another can of worms for another day. All that said, looks like a guy who's falling off and trying to hang on for attention. That's what it kind of feels like. Maybe I'm wrong, but he has a fight in a couple weeks, or no, not even a couple weeks, a week basically against Josh Taylor, who he said he wants to kill. Josh Taylor walked out of an interview because of it, and he's trying to hype up the fight. The fight hasn't sold out in the Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden, which only seats 5,500 people. Probably would have sold out or at least done better ticket wise if it was in the UK, but that's neither here nor there. Like I said, this is more sad than anything. It just seems like a guy who was champion, was on the top of the world, now is down a wife and probably half his cash. And we'll talk about marriage in another video. It's a video blitz because I'm making up for lost time putting together this studio. But that notwithstanding, it's more sad than anything. Like I said, I can kind of understand the fighting to the death gladiator mentality, but I really feel like this is a guy who just, had all the attention of the world, had the zeitgeist, and is now, struggling to sell out the Hulu Theater, and is probably about to lose and become the next Adrian Broner. That's what it looks like. A win would change that somewhat, but 140 is not an easy division, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. So what do you think? What do you think about Teofimo? Do you think this is a guy falling off? Do you think it's just a guy just being him, being honest? Are you offended by anything he said? I understand if you were. I understand, some people were making like, hey, Devin Haney had to apologize about his whatever he said. He said, no white boy is going to beat me, even though that was weird because he was raised by a white woman. That's another can of worms. Devin Haney and his weirdness. We're not talking about Devin Haney in this video. We're not talking about Haney. I mentioned Loma. We're not talking about either of them. I got 150, 200 comments on that fucking video. Still going. Like, I don't care anymore. I don't care. Fuck them both. In any event, what do you think about Teofimo? What do you think about this? He wants to kill somebody. He's not apologetic for offending people. Kind of feels like an act, but what do you think? You tell me. If you like the video, please like the video. If you're so obliged to share and subscribe, please do that. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Good night and God bless. Talk to you later. Peace.